What if everything you see, everything you feel, everything you are is just code? Not a metaphor, not a theory, but reality itself, running on a system we don't understand. A program, a simulation, an artificial construct so detailed, so advanced that we mistake it for truth. Welcome to the glitch in the matrix. You wake up every day and the world feels solid. You touch, you breathe, you move. But what if your senses are lying to you? What if the laws of physics are just rules in a game? What if the sky isn't real? What if death is just log out? These aren't sci-fi ideas anymore, they're questions being asked by scientists, philosophers, and technologists, and they all lead to one terrifying possibility. This world might not be real. Chapter 1. The Simulation Theory. In 2003, philosopher Nick Bostrom published a paper. In it, he proposed a simple but world-shaking argument. If civilizations become advanced enough to simulate entire universes, and if they want to run such simulations, then it's likely we are inside one. Not the creators, not the observers, but the simulated, just like characters in a game. Let's break it down. There are three possible truths. Civilizations never reach the level of technology needed to simulate reality. They do reach that level, but choose never to simulate anything. They reach that level and do create simulations, and we're living in one of them. If 1 or 2 is true, we're safe. But if number 3 is true, and they make billions of simulations, then, statistically, the chances we're in the one true real universe are almost zero. We're likely in one of the copies. Chapter 2. The glitches in reality. Have you ever had déjà vu? That eerie moment where something feels repeated, identical, or seen people act in mechanical, predictable ways? Or noticed how randomness often follows patterns? It could be coincidence, or it could be rendering errors, glitches, moments where the simulation lags, where the illusion shows its seams, like a video game dropping frames, like a world that's too detailed to compute all at once. Some theorists suggest that consciousness renders reality as we observe it, meaning if no one's looking, maybe that tree doesn't even exist. It's generated when you pay attention, like loading a level in a game, just in time. Chapter 3. Quantum clues now. Here's where science gets strange. In quantum physics, particles behave differently when observed. It's called the observer effect. An electron doesn't have a defined position until someone measures it. Before that, it exists as a probability cloud. In other words, particles respond to consciousness. That's not just weird. It's suspicious, because it implies the universe might be programmed to save power by not rendering details unless we look, just like a simulation would. And then there's the Planck length, the smallest possible unit of measurement. You can't divide beyond it. It's like pixelation in space, as if the universe has a minimum resolution, a limit to detail. Sounds familiar? Like the render distance in a game engine? Coincidence? Maybe, or maybe. We're seeing the code. Chapter 4. The role of time. Have you ever noticed how time feels flexible? Hours feel like minutes in joy, minutes feel like hours in pain. But even in physics, time isn't constant. Einstein showed us that time bends. It stretches near gravity. It slows at speed. It's not an absolute. It's a setting, and if time is just another variable, maybe it's adjustable. Maybe it's part of the simulation's configuration. And that raises another question. If reality is simulated, who is running it? Who are the architects, aliens, future humans, a godlike AI, or are we running simulations? Within simulations, and we've forgotten the top level. The truth is, we don't know. But if this is a simulation, it changes everything. Morality, purpose, meaning. Is life still real if it's artificial, or does knowing it's artificial give it new meaning? So you begin to notice things, little things, glitches, the clock that skips a second. The person you've never met but somehow recognize, the déjà vu that feels a little too specific. You brush it off, at first. A trick of the brain, a momentary lapse. But then it happens again and again. You start to wonder, what if this isn't just coincidence? What if the world is running code? Not metaphorically, literally. Let's go back to the core question. If this reality is a simulation, who built it? And more importantly, why? Some say aliens, a super-intelligent species running experiments, observing lower-level consciousness, like we observe ants in a glass box. Others say future humans, running simulations of their own ancestors to understand their origins, like digital archaeology. Some say AI itself, that a godlike artificial mind created this reality as its own. Dream, its own logic, its own experiment in sentient code. And others say it's a being we'd call a god, but not the kind from holy books. A programmer, a designer, a mind behind the curtain. Not supernatural, but supremely intelligent. And then the question gets scarier. If this is a simulation, does free will even exist? Are we making choices or simply following a script? Are our thoughts our own, or just reactions written into the code? You think you chose this video, but what if it was always part of your path? What if everything, from your first love to your last breath, was part of a simulation you never signed up for? And if it is a simulation, what happens when you die? Do you log out, respawn, merge with the source, delete, or are you just data wiped clean? You look at the world differently now. Patterns feel too perfect. Mathematics feels suspiciously flawless. Fibonacci sequences in flowers, golden ratios in galaxies, prime numbers in quantum physics. It's all too elegant, and maybe that's the clue. Maybe beauty, order, symmetry aren't just nature. They're design choices, like a simulation, trying to look real. Some physicists have even suggested that the laws of the universe resemble computer code. In 2012, theoretical physicist James Gates claimed to find something strange inside string theory equations, a pattern that resembles computer error-correcting code. Let that sink in. The same type of code we use to detect glitches in data may exist at the foundation of reality itself. That's like finding HTML inside a leaf, or JavaScript inside your DNA. Coincidence or evidence? Now you start seeing the world not as matter, but as information. Not atoms, but bits, uns and zeros, pixels and polygons, rendered in real time based on where attention flows. When you look at the moon, it's loaded. When you look away, it's minimized. Quantum physics hints at this. Particles exist in all states until observed. Reality waits for you to look, then renders accordingly. So what if this simulation isn't broken? What if it's efficient? Why render an entire world if no one's looking? Why generate every detail if no one's paying attention? And what is attention? It's consciousness, which leads to another terrifying idea. Maybe consciousness isn't a byproduct of matter. Maybe matter is a byproduct of consciousness. You stare at your hand. It moves when you will it to. But what is you? A brain, a soul, or just the camera the simulation uses to see itself? You look in the mirror. Are you seeing a person or an avatar? Who wrote your backstory? Who gave you your strengths, your insecurities? Who decided where you were born? Your language, your body, you, or the system? Or now you question everything. Your memories, your dreams, your emotions. Are they real or just the result of code, running on a server you'll never see? You're not scared anymore. You're curious. Because if this is a simulation, then maybe you can change it, bend the code, hack the system, awaken, and that's when it hits you. Maybe you were never meant to know. Maybe the purpose of the simulation was to make you believe it was real, and now you've broken the rule. You saw behind the curtain. So now the simulation must decide, what do we do with someone who knows? Let's assume the unthinkable, that everything you've ever known, Every memory, every sensation, every heartbeat is part of a code, a line of logic, a command executed by a system beyond comprehension, and the life you live is running on a script. So the question is no longer, are we in a simulation? But what do we do about it? If reality is an illusion, does it make your experiences any less real? If pain is code, does it still hurt? If love is programmed, does it still matter? If your choices are part of an algorithm, can you still be free? The truth is, you already live like it's real. You dream, you fear, you fall in love, you suffer, you grow. The simulation, if it exists, doesn't take that away. It just changes the frame. Now ask yourself, what's more frightening? That we're inside a simulation, or that there's no one watching? That the creators walked away? Or that they're watching every move? Or worse, what if you're the one running it without even knowing? Here's a thought. What if reality is a simulation that reacts to your awareness? What if the more you question it, the more unstable it becomes? The glitches, the déjà vu, the moments of silence when nothing feels real. Are those cracks in the code? Or are they invitations? Maybe the purpose of the simulation isn't control, but discovery. Maybe you're here to learn how to wake up, not physically, consciously, to break the pattern, to see the variables, to choose differently, because even in a simulated world, a single unpredictable choice can change everything. That's the paradox. If this is all fake, you still get to decide what it means and meaning. That's the one thing you can't simulate. You have to make it yourself. So what if this isn't a prison? What if it's a test, not of your intelligence, but your integrity? Can you stay kind in a world made of code? Can you love, knowing it? Might all be pixels, can you be honest? When no one is watching, because maybe that's what they're watching for. And what if you pass? What happens next? Do you ascend? Do you reboot? Do you wake up in another place, or do you simply continue, but now fully awake? You look around, and everything is the same. The sky, the traffic, the arguments, the bills. But now you see the pattern. Now, you feel the code behind the chaos, and suddenly, it's beautiful, not because it's perfect, but because it's fragile, because it can end, because you're part of it. So maybe the question isn't, is reality real? Maybe the question, so can you live like it matters, even if it's not?